control of the choices, right? That's just defining the option set in a way that's favorable to you, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can do it in two ways. I can either frame and bracket your decisions down to choices that mostly benefit me. Something that's counterintuitive is if there's something I don't want you to do, I'll put it on the options. I don't hide it from you. Most people would think that you would. The reason is because if you choose option B that I don't want you to choose, I can at least control the narrative of how we engage with it versus you arriving on your own and now you drive yourself. The other option would be how well can I rationalize it? For example, if we shoot an arrow against a wall and then I paint the target afterwards, if we have loopholes and we don't know where we're going, how well can I craft the story after the action's already been taken? So you do an action, I adjust the narrative for that.
Right. One other way I've seen it done is you create a false choice, right? You say, which do you want, more government spending or lower taxes, mm-hmm. right? And that's just a false dichotomy. You don't have to have one or the other.
So that bracketing of those choices down, if all of them belong to me, it doesn't really matter. I mean, that's a fascinating example with Putin and his anti-Kremlin movement. Not his anti-Kremlin movement, but when he was facing an anti-Kremlin movement, he started hijacking the narratives of the protesters on Twitter and just changing their position by 10, 15% rather than changing it a lot. So they believed they could join 1, 2, or 3 different groups to protest it, but they were now controlled by him in different ways, with just small changes in the narrative.
Yeah. You alluded to the next one about the time frame, right? And you can kind of play with the time frame with which things are perceived, with which things happen. All right, that one's harder for me, frankly, as a tool in the toolbox for the control of one's environment.
Mm-hmm. So in a sneaky side, what a simple way to think of that is if you can't change the technique, you change the moment. There's an expectation it should happen here, but I do it at a different time. And that's a very effective tool just by shifting the timing. Another way to look at it, there's a poetic way of saying this by a magician named Tommy Wonder. He says that the dream gives us the highlights give us the shadows, and the shadows give us our methods. What that means is there's a story that someone's going to say, there's things that they leave out. How well you can predict what they're going to say when they're in that moment. The little blind spots that they leave out are the times, the beats that you can hit, the things that they think are irrelevant. I'm walking, I take a step up with my right foot, I grabbed hold of the table with my left hand. You're not going to think those are important. So timing tends to be of what are these. If you're surprised by unexpected change, if you see a pattern and now you think that you've established a pattern, there's all these little moments that are timing-based blind spots.
Right. I always kind of think of it as like a head fake in basketball, right? Where you go up, you're going to shoot the ball. It's just a matter of when are you going to shoot the ball, right? And if that guy jumps and then he's on his way down, then it's way easier to shoot the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a feint can be one form of it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, and then the final one of the techniques that I spotted was manipulate the priorities, right? And that is again, that can be done verbally, right? By making something seem that is the thing that they want when it's really the thing that you want.
Yeah, a simple way that we might say it would be treating the important as unimportant and the unimportant as important. So it needs both those sides. If I need to hide what's important to me often in this case, so that your priority is, otherwise you'll rebound to it. If it feels too important to you, you might not do it. If it feels too important to me. So a lot of times it'll feel less important. I'll cloak that and I'll try to drive, whether I'm pretending to be an advocate for you to help you make a decision or advisor. Again, this is inside of an entertainment aspect, or laying out a con. So I can drive your priorities often by giving you the illusion of control.
Right. In terms of negotiation, I often think about that is if something appears to be a priority to somebody, then you're going to extract a higher cost for it. right? In order to be able to give that, like, oh, you want this? Well, it's going to cost you, right? But if my perception is that it's not that big of a priority, then I will assign the cost I think it is, which may be significantly less than the value that you think you're getting.
Yes, but that can also come to tangibles.
Oh, sure. Yes, of course.
What are the things that you have perceived value? They think this issue is important to you, so they put it onto the negotiation table. But maybe it's not important to you. So just the manufacture of an important value to an object that you put on the table now becomes very useful as a maneuver.
Yeah, absolutely. You've gained a currency to be able to
Yeah.
sell, to give on, to whatever.